Say hi, buddy. Hola guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Roxanne. If it's your first time here, then welcome. Today I wanted to do sort of a continuation slash response video to a video that my friend Bree Hill did, where she sat down and she gave a lot of really great advice to new booktubers, and she sort of encouraged us who were watching and who had been on Booktube already to join her and to give some advice of our own. So I decided to do that. I have a few little things that I want to share with you guys. If you're interested in starting your own booktube channel, I highly recommend it. It's so much fun. You get to meet so many incredible people, and through participating in the community, you get to be introduced to great books and great authors, and it's really fun. And if it's something that you have ever sort of felt you wanted to do but were scared or whatever, definitely give it a try. You don't have to stick with it. Obviously, if once you start you don't like it, then by all means don't continue to make yourself do something that you don't enjoy doing. But if you think you would want to, then by all means please do, because this community is always wanting to welcome new content creators, and I've always felt very welcome here, and I hope that you will as well if you decide to join. If you hear some noise, my cat Galileo is playing in the background. So my first piece of advice is one that I have already mentioned in a previous video, which I will link above and below, and that is that it's okay to change your mind. If you start out making a certain type of video, or having a certain intro, or having a setup a certain way, it's okay to change your mind. As you make videos and as you learn what type of booktuber you are, what kind of content you like to talk about, how you feel most comfortable in front of the camera, it's okay to change your mind as your journey continues in this platform. You can change the type of books that you enjoy reading. You can branch out and explore new genres. You can change things about your channel. You can change your mind. That's totally fine. It's part of the evolution of being a booktuber. My tastes have changed greatly since I began to do booktube, and I think if anything I've just become more genuine in my videos, and so that's definitely something that I tell everybody. It is totally okay to change your mind. Number 2 is to go through your TBR pile frequently. A lot of us, and this kind of will tie to my next piece of advice, but or I guess maybe I'll just give these to you together. So first is give the hype time, and then and then also go through your TBR pile frequently. When a new book is going to be released and everybody is talking about it on Booktube, it is very exciting, and it's exciting to be part of the hype, and it's exciting to know what people are talking about, and it may lead for you to add a lot of books to your TBR on Goodreads or whatever platform you use to organize your TBR. It may lead you to buy a lot of books. Usually I like to put books on my TBR pile or to read on Goodreads before I buy them. That way just kind of I remember like all the books that I want to read. But every now and then I like to go through them, and I like to just wipe out a big chunk of them, because the hype is very strong. The hype is a very powerful thing, and it makes you excited for books that maybe you might actually not end up being very interested in. I've added so many books to my TBR that once I give it time, and once I let the hype die down, I will look back on it and be like, you know what, it actually doesn't really seem like something I'm very interested in, so I'm gonna pass on it. I may read it at another time, but I don't want to get wrapped up in the hype, possibly buy a book that I won't end up enjoying, or just take up time from another book that I might enjoy more just because I'm more genuinely excited about it. So be very cognizant of the hype and what it can make you sort of want to do. So just be very aware that you know, that group mentality is strong. So I like to let the hype die before I read a very hyped up book. I waited a long time to read books like The Hate You Give. I waited a long time to read the Hannah Kent books were making their way around Booktube for a while, and everybody was talking about them. I let that die down before I read those books. So just give yourself time, because it is very easy to get wrapped up in that. It's very easy to spend a lot of money on when you're on Booktube. So just be very calm. Take your time. It's totally okay. Number 4, it's okay to Booktube on the cheap. You do not have to spend so much money on equipment, or on camera equipment, or on editing equipment. For the longest time, I did my videos on my camera phone, on my smartphone, and I used Movie Maker, whatever it's called, on Windows computer, the one that's for the program that's free, and it was totally fine. It was only until last year that I got an actual camera, and that was a Christmas gift. And it wasn't until last year that I actually purchased an editing software, and it was like a one-time purchase of like 40 bucks, and it's supposed to last me forever unless I want to make any updates to it. And honestly, the only time I use it is when I want to do picture overlays. Otherwise, I will still use the free software that came with my computer, because it's quick, it's easy, and I don't really do that much editing to my videos at all. So you do not have to go and purchase ring lights or any of that, or tripod. I would put my phone, I would prop it up against a big pile of books, and I would only film during the daytime. And if I really needed to film, then I would be like, fuck it, I'm doing it in front of my yellow light lamp, and it was totally fine. I got to where I am, and I've made great friends, and I don't think it's hindered me or my content. People who like my videos like them no matter what, whether they're dark or whatever. They like me because they like my personality and because we're friends or whatever. And that's what people who are watching your content are going to look for. Whether you're genuine, they'll like you, your personality. They might be your friends or become your friends. So that's what people want to see. And also, it's okay to do Booktube on the cheap by not buying a lot of books. Like I said, it's very easy to buy an exorbitant amount of books when you first start doing Booktube, because we all know that book hauls are the most viewed videos, like Bree said in her video. And it's okay to want to do those if you actually want to do them, but you do not have to. You do not have to go out and buy a lot of books, because I spent, when I started doing Booktube, so much money that I could have saved and used on something else, because I would get wrapped up in the hype, or because I wanted to film a book haul, or because I wanted to be reading all of the books that everybody else was talking about. It's okay to not do that. Use the library, use Overdrive, just talk about books that you've owned for a long time. You do not have to do book hauls every month. You do not have to do book hauls at all. You can do Booktube on the cheap. And speaking of buying books, Olive at A Book Olive has a great video on how she buys like discounted books and how she saves money when she's buying books. So I will look for that video and post it down below as well, because it is filled with a lot of really good tips, and that I definitely recommend you use, because there are some that I have definitely used, because you start to read a lot when you're on Booktube, and you might be tempted to buy a lot, and that could be detrimental to your bank account. So take your time, and it is okay to be cheap when you're on Booktube. Number 5, interact with the community. If possible, respond to comments. I like to interact with every single comment that comes into my videos. There may at some point come a time when I don't have the time to do that, and I can't do that. If I happen to all of a sudden grow very into a large channel, which I don't foresee happening. my growth is very sort of gradual, and that's totally fine because it allows me to interact with every single comment that comes into my videos. And if you have the time, I understand not everybody does, and that's totally cool, but if you can and if you have the time, interact with your commenters, with the people who are subscribing to you, with the people who send you messages. These are people that are taking the time to look at your content, and it feels really nice when you leave someone a comment and they respond back. And so whether it's a like or a heart or a response, I like to somehow interact with every single comment if I can in my videos, and that's made me some great friends. I encourage people to follow me on other social media in which I'm very active in, Twitter and Instagram, which are always linked down below. So if you can, interact with your community. That's how you'll make friends, that's how you'll grow, that's how people will find your channel as well. So definitely recommend doing that. Number 6, Booktube decorum. So some things not to do. Do not tag people on these is creators and authors on negative reviews or comments about their work. If you see that an author has a very large presence in social media, don't tag them on negative reviews that you see. If they want to read negative reviews about their work, they will go looking for them, but it sort of seems a little bit petty when people do that, in my opinion. Like they just sort of want to create drama, like, ooh, look at what this person said about your book. They said it sucks. Look, read it everywhere. It's rude and it's not nice. Don't do that. If there are many of us booktubers who are very vocal about certain things that we're very passionate about, that doesn't mean that you should tag us on things that may be triggering or that we'll disagree with just because you want to see us talk about it or fight that person on Twitter or whatever. That's not cool. That's not your place, and we don't want to be tagged on things like that. It's just not nice. A lot of us are very active on social media and we like to talk to everybody, but that doesn't mean that you should, like, I'm very social about women's issues or immigration or things happening in Puerto Rico. Don't constantly tag me on things that are gonna upset me about those just because you know that I talk about them. I do my own reading and my own research in my own time. If I happen to come across it and discuss it, then that's on me. But it's not cool for you to constantly be tagging people, and yeah, it's just not nice. Another thing, people will like what they like. Let people like what they like. If there is someone who does not like the book that you like and is doing a negative review about it, you can exit that video. You do not have to watch it. Don't sit there and berate that person, write long comments about it. They don't want to hear it, and I'm sure that anybody who sits down and feels the need to write down a paragraph long comment about how someone is so wrong about hating X, Y, and Z book, you could be doing something better with your time. Just keep it positive. Keep it positive. I mean, yes, they're doing a negative comment, but they have every right to do so. You can exit that video. I have never sat there and disliked a video. If I don't like something someone's saying, I will exit out. That is my right, and I have that ability. That little X is right there. So do that. That's totally okay. If you don't like something someone is saying, just exit out. Don't add to the negativity. And then something that I just thought of, so I guess number 7, you do not have to read YA to be in Booktube. We know that a lot of the big Booktubers read a lot of YA, got very popular because of YA. YA is very popular. A large part of the Booktube community reads and talks about YA. That's totally fine. You do not have to if you don't want to. Don't feel pressured to if you don't want to. There are successful Booktubers who read other things other than YA. Joss over at Scribbles reads some YA, but she reads a large variety of other types of books. Mercedes at Mercy's Bookish Musings doesn't read YA, and she has a big following. Olive at a Book Olive, I think she's at like 10,000 subscribers or something like that. She doesn't really read that much YA. She reads a wide variety of books as well. It is totally okay to read whatever you want to read about. Be your most genuine self on here, because that's what people want to see. Don't copy someone else, because as I think Bree said in her video, that person's already taken. We want to see new people. We want to see diversity in this community. So bring whatever you can to the table, because that's what people are going to want to sign up for and see. So yeah. So Lewis heard me talking and asked, well, what about discussions? Doesn't that discourage discussion? And that's not at all what I am talking about. I think you guys all know what type of comments I'm talking about. There is always room for discussion, for constructive criticism. So if you can listen to someone talk about why they don't like a book that you love, but you have things to say, well, have you thought about this? You know, I like it because of this XYZ. That's totally fine, and pretty much everybody encourages it. What I'm talking about is, don't sit there and be like, oh, you stupid girl, you go put on makeup and learn how to read real literature, you don't know what you're talking about, because those are the comments that have no place in our community or anywhere. So those are the ones that I'm talking about. If you feel like doing this, then by all means, please do. If you have any questions or anything like that, please leave them down below. I look forward to seeing a bunch of new videos. So as always, thank you for watching and for listening. I love you guys.